Howdy, 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 all you cool cats and kittens. Welcome back to Stardew Valley Tools Aren't Real Edition. I'm Jared. I'm waiting for Berkeley to successfully rejoin. It seems
I'm
that
Berkeley. I don't know what Jared's talking about.
it said it in this in the bottom left-hand corner. We can wind it back for the record. Berkeley Andrews has quit.
I did not quit. My software quit, but I'm joining again. Do you think people are probably bored of us starting every stream talking about how my game crashes every time I join multiplayer, right?
That's maybe. I don't know. It never ceases to entertain me, but what do I know? Also, question, Berkeley. What is this white ball of fluff in the coop?
Oh, that is some wool.
Do sheep lay wool in this?
Sheep lay wool in this world. I think it's much better than our system. Oh no, I think I joined as the wrong farmer. Didn't want to do this. Okay, I'm gonna have to quit the game again. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. I'll still be here.
Okay.
There's a song about that in the 80s. Time after time. Maybe that's not the title.
If you quit, I'll start farming without you.
Time after time. All right. And that's enough of that. No copyright strikes.
Yeah.
We have pumpkins now. I should probably not sell all of them. I should probably go over to the beautiful community center. Is it the community center?
It's the community center, yeah.
Pam just stepped on a plum and destroyed it, and it made her angry.
I can't believe I missed that.
That's so
that's
interesting. That reminds me of my youth. So I hate gardening IRL. I see the appeal. I've enjoyed it occasionally, but when I was younger, my parents grew a huge garden, and I was of the age where I made convenient free labor. And so I spent hours and hours out gardening. And one of the things we had in this particular house, we had like 3 plum trees. And our family consists of 5 total people. So 1 plum tree would have been more than sufficient. And we didn't plant these came with the house. But every maybe it was fall, I don't know, but every time the plums became ripe, we couldn't pick them fast enough for them to come off the vine without like spoiling on the ground. And so our yard would fill with the smell of decaying plums, just piles and piles of decaying plums. Then we'd have to go out and like scoop them into buckets and throw them away. And it kind of ruined plums for me, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure.
So, Pam, I see you.
Step on a plum, game over. No more plums. Yeah, I had a similar experience. When I was 18 and I moved from Oregon to Utah, there were just apricots everywhere. They just rotting on the sidewalk. And I don't think I've enjoyed an apricot since then.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It kind of sets you off. Puts you off, sets you off. It's off-putting.
Puts you off. It's off-putting. It's offsetting? No. Okay, well, this is Tools Aren't... oh my gosh. I'm going to try again. This is Stardew Valley, Tools Aren't Real Edition, and we're at the top of our game today, as you might have noticed. It has been... We've missed a lot of streams recently, so sorry that we haven't been as consistent. We've had lots of exciting things going on in our real lives.
That's true.
And we appreciate your patience, and we hope that people come back after our accidental breaks. But we're here. We're beating Stardew Valley without tools. We're making good progress. We're shutting down Big Tool, shutting down Mayor Lewis at the same time. And that's all I have to say about that.
Question, Berkeley. We've got a
Yes,
carving
sir.
pumpkins quest here for Caroline. Where,
Okay.
where do I find Caroline?
She is often in Pierre's store, as she is married to Pierre.
Ah, yes. Okay.
Um, she also spends a good amount of time just in like the city center, chatting it up with folks.
Being a
And
vagrant, a loiterer, and a vagrant
no, being like, sh- she is not here. I was looking.
with our detective hats. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
she's not a vagrant. She's like just the life of the town, the spirit of the town, the glue of the town. There's a word, right?
Yeah. She brings the town together with her vagrancy.
Yeah, with her vagrant. That's the line as you're thinking of.
That's true. That's I was thinking of Linus. Um, so here we are again. It's a lovely crisp fall morning. You can smell the leaves. You can smell the it's damp from the night's rain. It's definitely not 80 degrees indoors right now. And things are good. I mean, we just harvested our first pumpkins. We're out
Did you
here.
donate a pumpkin already?
I did donate one, yeah. There's another requirement that wants 5, but I only have 3.
Okay, it specifically wants 5 gold star pumpkins. Do you have any gold star pumpkins?
I have 0 gold star pumpkins.
Okay, so we'll have to wait till next fall to get that, which is what we were expecting. I actually didn't think we would get any crops planted in year one, so no harm there. It's cool that we were able to get. Did we get the whole fall crops bundle?
We are missing yams right now.
Okay, I think we might have a yam coming, maybe? I think we sold a yam on accident. That would be sad. Well, we'll
I
be okay.
I wouldn't put it past me.
I
Okay,
wouldn't put it past me.
I think I found Caroline. Here, have this pumpkin. Yes, I am great. Thank you. Also, quick question. Was the shrine here when you moved in, or did you build this?
Yeah, so that shrine was not built by Caroline and Pierre. That was there when they moved in.
Did you? I see the floor is different. Did the previous owner build around it? Like, 'cause that's stone. It looks like a stone floor.
Yeah, I have no idea. Only the best for whatever this god's name is.
Yoba,
Yoba.
which rhymes with boba, which is a delicious drink.
Yeah, and a Star Wars character.
True. I'm
No
fed up with
relation.
these Star Wars jokes. Okay, so we got our pumpkin carving done. 500 gold. That's
It's pretty good.
I'm charging premium prices for these pumpkins, guys.
Yeah. Let me check if I have that quest, because maybe I should do the same thing.
Oh yeah, that's a great point.
Oh, it doesn't look like I do. Never mind.
I guess
You can go ahead and sell the rest of them.
I guess the dev didn't want us to be exploiting the infinite pumpkin carving glitch.
Well, a lot of the quests you do get to double up on, which is nice. Get double rewards for being in multiplayer. But I guess not that one.
I have been enjoying playing this so much on the stream that I started playing off stream, which
Wow, that's pretty extreme.
it is. I haven't on not on this map obviously. This we're saving this for
Uh-huh.
the stream, but I had a little map that I went back to, a little save file that I had been kind of just sitting on for a while, and it's just it's so fun, so wholesome.
Yeah, it's a great game. I've been really into cozy media lately. I don't know, for a long time I was like reading all the exciting books and watching all the exciting movies, but there's just something to be said for cozy, slow, peaceful media.
I think the contrast with our lives probably adds a lot to that.
Mm, yeah. That's one of the reasons that I love doing a no tools run so much. I can't remember if we talked about this on the last stream. I was definitely thinking about it. Um, but with a lot of challenge runs that you could do with Stardew Valley, it would be about like optimizing things to make all as much money as you can or finish as fast as you can. But doing no tools feels like it's more in the spirit of Stardew Valley because we're just we're not optimizing. We're doing the worst thing you could do.
we're we're inefficient, but with the purpose.
Yes. And that purpose is connecting, right?
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
what? I don't know. Each other,
Yeah.
the world, the earth.
All three. Speaking of connecting with each other, the world and the earth, this game reminds me a lot of Hayao Miyazaki films. Just the feel of it, the coziness. You may have heard of them under the name Studio Ghibli.
Mm.
But there's some really great films that kind of bring that cozy, beautiful nature feeling. And I think this week I want to highlight Kiki's Delivery Service. It's
Oh, yes.
so you're familiar with this one.
Yeah, Megan introduced me to it just earlier this year, actually.
So it's great. It's kind of a coming of age story, but with a little bit of magic and a little bit of kind of the age of flight, like the beginning of humans being able to fly with machines, and just has a lot of cool moments, some coziness, some self-reflection, mixing with a little bit of adventure. And that's a great one to put on like a Sunday night, pop some popcorn, and just chill out to Kiki's Delivery Service. 5 stars. Definitely would recommend.
Nice. Yeah, I loved it. I didn't know what it was about. The little bits I'd heard about it didn't really grab my attention, but when I finally sat down and watched it, I like that one even more than Hell's Moving Castle. It was, like you said, very cozy, great coming of age story.
I got level 2 farming.
Nice.
Not to change the subject, but +1 hoe proficiency.
Can't believe you talk about the game we're playing.
That's the point, is to not talk about it. Right? Alrighty. So I think we wanted to get our barn. We cleared some land for it.
Oh yeah.
Do we want to make that happen? Ooh, I got mail. Dear Jared, notice a chill in the air? It could just be the approach of winter, or it could be the tingle of a dark specter. Here to help us celebrate tomorrow's festival, the Spirit's Eve. That was a total change in tone partway through that sentence. It really threw me off. Come to town at 10 p.m. if you'd like to participate. Signed, Mayor Lewis.
Ugh, hate that guy.
Well, the problem with us attending festivals is it always results in Berkeley getting stuck at his house.
That is true.
Although
This is a good one though.
we have more bombs now, so we probably could make it happen.
Yeah. This is a good one if there's like there's a golden pumpkin you can get that sells for a good pretty penny. So it might be worth it.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's attempt it, at least.
Well, I'm sure we can do it. It's the after part that's the problem.
So, well, yeah, I mean, we'll attempt to save you, I guess. Might be a better way to
Okay.
save that.
And if we don't, you know, whatever happens, happens.
I'm currently at level 2 mining. And if we want to get big bombs craftable in-house, I need to keep upping that. So I'm going to go do some grinding in the mines. Is that okay with you?
Okay, yeah, there's some coal and a cherry bomb and some that's it in this chest that I'm blocking you from entering.
Oh, you're good. We have a ton of berries saved. Are we waiting for our ability to make jam with those guys?
I don't know that we're saving those for anything specific. I can grab all of our wood and stone and go purchase a barn.
Okay.
Do we have any wood? Probably.
Somewhere.
I'll break open our geodes too.
Oh yeah, we've got a bunch of stored up geodes.
I can't remember if I told you this, but I did the math, and it's actually economically unwise to break open your geodes because on average the thing that you get out of it minus the 25 gold that you pay to break it open is not worth as much as just selling the geode wood.
That is
Which
that's an interesting fact. I didn't know that. It's kind of surprising, but I guess it kind of gets to the point of needing to collect and break open the geodes as a price to pay for artifact finds.
Yeah. And so for us, since we haven't finished the museum and the museum can get us stuff that helps us in the new No Tools challenge, I think it is still smart to be doing. I was just very surprised by that fact.
Yeah, that is definitely an interesting fact. Ah, ghost. It's a good thing you have a corporeal form I can stab, otherwise that would have been very bad for me.
I think I'm gonna make our first dino mayonnaise. I don't know if we've done that before.
I know you've talked about this before, but I forgot. Are dinosaurs more profitable than chickens?
No, they're less profitable.
They're just
That is
way
another
cooler.
fun profit fact. Yeah.
Well, I'm in D&D, I'm a rule of cool guy, so I try to live my life by that.
Nice.
Speaking of D&D, Berkeley, you DM'd for me and Megan a beautiful little one-shot. How did you come up with that? It's a
Yeah.
Do you want to give some background about what it was and then like talk about the process of making it?
Yeah, so we've mentioned this on the stream before, but Jared and I are both on a podcast called Choose a Choice. We usually play Savage Worlds in a cyberpunk setting. Or is that what we call it?
Yeah, cyberpunk.
Yeah, cyberpunk. Okay, I was messed up because I was like, no, that's a game. No, it's also a genre. Sorry, let me buy this barn first. I cannot concentrate on two things at once. Do you want to keep talking about the podcast while I...
Oh yeah, so cyberpunk setting, it's not D&D, it's Savage Worlds, which is slightly more easily adaptable to different settings. That's why we went with it. And also our DM for that, my brother Alton, likes to do stuff that's different. He likes to try lots of different things. And so that system is one of his favorite that he's tried. So we went with that since it was his campaign. But we finally did play D&D together, and 5th edition, of course, because it's the most fun, in my humble opinion. I'm not here for the complex mechanics of some of the earlier versions, and it was a lot of fun. I played an Aragorn ripoff character based on Aragorn's alter ego Strider. My guy was named Walker.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
And Megan played Layla, a samurai elf. But elf, right? Yeah. Full elf?
Yeah.
Okay. And
I've been a half elf, I don't remember.
what was interesting, so her character and my character were both very confident, kind of in the canon, very confident characters. So it was interesting to kind of see how they interacted with each other. And I also thought it was interesting that Megan's character used a rapier as a samurai. I'm
Hmm.
I'm not familiar with samurai weaponry, but I always imagined rapiers as like what French nobles kill each other with.
Yeah, I mean, D&D 5th edition, I don't think has rules for a katana. I, when Megan and I play, we just take the mechanics that are the most readily available,
Yeah.
not necessarily what is the most flavorful. So
Yeah. No,
I'm
that
sure in her head she wasn't picturing a rapier, but that's just what the chart said was a versatile weapon.
right, and it worked. It worked really well.
Yeah,
Yeah, and we got to hang out with a guy named Roderick, and that was also pretty cool.
yeah, yeah. So if you're into D&D and into podcasts, I recommend that episode that we did and the rest of the podcast. But
Sort of, maybe.
eh, no, just I love everything. Um, donating items. Okay, yeah. So for this particular one shot that we did, I don't remember when I came up with it. I had run it a couple years ago for some friends who wanted to play D&D for their first time. And the idea was that you had been hired, or the party had been hired by this wizard, but when they came back to collect their payment, he was missing, and his apprentice was on trial for the wizard's murder, even though there wasn't a lot of evidence that he actually had been murdered. And so the party has to go to the wizard's tower and investigate it and figure out what happened. Um, and it was a lot of fun. Lots of puzzles, a little bit of role play, a little bit of combat, which is exactly how I love D&D to be.
Yeah, I'm a big puzzles and roleplay guy. I love the combat too, but I it's hard for me to come up with like cool stuff. Like when Critical Role does combat, they have lots of cool descriptions and like how they describe what they're doing, and I think I just get a little too dark, to be honest. And it doesn't end up feeling cool. It's just like a little weird.
Yeah, I think you know a lot more about like actual war and weapons and combat, and so you're you know a lot of details that a lot of people don't that
Which, you know,
can sometimes lend itself to darkness.
it gets awkward. It gets awkward. But I feel like it wasn't too bad this time. It was a lot of
Yeah.
fun. You came up with those puzzles yourself too, which I was impressed by because I definitely would have just Googled D&D puzzles.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever found a puzzle online that I loved. Um, just met some corn. It is so hard in D&D to make a puzzle that is not too difficult. Um, because the thing with D&D puzzles is if you fail, then oftentimes that means you can't progress in the story, which no one enjoys. So you have to have it be difficult enough to be engaging, but simple enough, easy enough, or have enough different correct answers that it doesn't block the story.
Yeah. So D&D puzzles are kind of like real life escape rooms. If you have a well-defined set of rules, it usually doesn't go sideways too badly, but it just takes time. But sometimes, if the rules aren't well defined or the players weren't paying attention when you did define the rules, you have the people like in the escape room metaphor who start breaking open stuff, like things that are definitely props to see what's inside instead of following the puzzle clues, and it gets problematic fast. I think maybe one of my favorite examples of that is in Alton gave us a puzzle that we couldn't figure out in the CAC RPG podcast. And so instead of trying to actually solve the puzzle, we just started making rolls to like try to sidestep it completely, and eventually I think he gave in out of exasperation. But
That's
that's
funny. I don't remember that.
I think it was when well, I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah. It was fairly early on, we'll put it that way.
I had another puzzle in a game that I ran. I wanted to try a combat puzzle where it was like framed as combat, but you couldn't win through traditional combat. You had to like figure out the key and win that way. Um, I had a monster that had a weapon that was extremely powerful, but had very low chances of actually hitting, and the monster itself, it was very bad at dodging things, but was really tough. So the only way to like actually kill it would be to throw its own weapon back at itself. Was how I designed it, and I was really excited for this concept.
Yeah.
And my players just immediately ran out of the room and locked the door. And I was like, okay, well, you beat
That's
it.
that. You did it. Yay. That's pretty funny.
Yeah. But I think the key really is having multiple solutions. Like, if I myself can think of 2 or 3 solutions to a puzzle, then I know that my players will be able to come up with some solutions. They might not be the same as the ones I came up with, but they'll be good enough that I have to accept it.
That you can feel okay about
Or get
accepting
to
it.
accept it, like, because it's creative. But if there's just one right answer, then I think everyone gets frustrated trying to guess what the DM is thinking.
Yeah. That's kind of, I don't know. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of engineering tests that are kind of the same way, where it's like, what are you looking for here? Because there's a lot of different things it could be. You're fishing for answers.
Because I would have thought that engineering, like being more STEM field, well, it's a STEM field, it's the E, would have been more of this is the right answer. Things are more cut and dry. Do you feel like it's not that way?
Typically it is, but it depends on the teacher. There are some teachers that really, they're really fishing. They're fishing for an exact answer, but the way they phrase the question, it's not specific enough to, at least to me. Maybe it's a problem with my intellect. Maybe that's the real challenge here.
I doubt that.
So I keep forgetting that we have the mine carts unlocked. And so I'm running
yeah.
all over
Gotta use
town,
those.
wasting time, but we have it. We have the power.
Yeah, that was probably my favorite community center perk. Is the mine carts.
It's so convenient.
We might need to make another chest soon. These are both getting pretty bloated.
Okay.
Maybe I can go through them tomorrow. We can move that. I think all our tools are in one of them. I can move that to one of the empty houses on our farm.
Okay.
Oh, but we don't have chests there. Never mind. That won't help.
Not yet. We could, though.
Yeah.
Level 3 mining achieved.
Nice. Good job.
I've
Kane, you
unlocked
saw you conquered.
miner's treat. Whatever that is. Probably gravel. It's probably gravel stuck to like one of those Endura carrots. Tasty.
It's their effort at making. Did you ever have Nerd's rope?
Oh, yeah.
It's like a long, long, sticky gummy worm wrapped in Nerds.
I bet that would be even better with Laffy Taffy as the rope.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
All right, I got some.
Hey, we've got another
Oh, go ahead.
eggplant.
More eggplant.
Yeah, I just saw it.
I got a new weapon. I got a bone sword.
Ooh.
I also have bone fragments, and I don't remember what they're useful for.
Me neither. They didn't have those in 1.4, which is what I played on mobile, which is where most of my experience is.
Okay. Well, that's all right. I've got some spare boots here. I've got combat boots with +3 defense, and I've got tundra boots with +2 defense and +1 immunity. Are you interested in either of those?
Let me see what I have. I've got tundra boots as well. So I think I am all squared away.
Okay. I'll go sell those then. I'm going to sell these bone fragments too. We can always get more.
Yeah, they're pretty plentiful.
And I've got lots more stone, but not very many bombs left. My Kool-Aid glass is covering my screen here. I have 5 bombs left. So I'll probably go to the blacksmith and get some more bomb material. I also just realized I sold some quartz, which I probably shouldn't have done.
Oh yeah, it's good to save that. It's not crucial because we've got some that we can put in the crystallarium to get more, but
Still,
yeah, quartz can be traded for bombs, right? 5 quartz for one
Or
bomb.
staircases. I don't remember which, but
I
your
think jade is the
bomb probably is right.
staircases.
Yeah. Speaking of which, tomorrow is Sunday, so maybe I'll go down and do that tomorrow.
Cool. Is tomorrow also the Halloween party?
Festival. Yeah, maybe.
Okay,
Is there a
that's good.
calendar? There's not a calendar.
I think
What?
there's a way to read your letters from your inventory.
Oh yeah, there is. Oh, cool. It's today at 10 p.m.
Okay, that's great because that means tomorrow um, we can go to the desert.
So, Berkeley, I know you're a Marvel guy. Maybe
Yes,
maybe that's too strong of a description. I know you enjoy
I,
Marvel things.
I am becoming less of a Marvel guy, but I think that's still accurate. Oh,
So,
jeez.
you've seen the latest Doctor Strange um, film, and I think the latest Thor film. Yeah.
Yeah, um, Thor came out what like a week ago, um, maybe a little less. Yeah, in both of those. And you said you've seen Doctor Strange, but not Thor yet, right?
That's right. So Thor's my favorite character of the franchise, especially Taika Waititi's version of Thor.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, you mentioned that before the stream, and that kind of surprised me. I don't know a lot of people who say that Thor is their favorite. Do you? Is there anything particular that draws you to him?
um, he's kind of an airhead, to be honest.
Uh-huh.
Which, you know, I appreciate. I appreciate the idea of fantasy that isn't trying to like techno babble, if that makes sense,
Mm.
right? Like
Yeah.
it works because it works, and we don't need to try to explain it or like
Hmm.
overanalyze it. He's Thor. He's the god of thunder, and that's the way it is. That appeals to me. The simplicity of that appeals to me. Um, I also enjoyed kind of the setting, the contrast between um, Asgard and Earth. Kind of drew me in the first movie. I enjoyed that. And
Midgard, as
then
the real fans call it.
Midgard. Midgard, Earth, yes. Thank you. The realms, the 9 realms. So yeah, I think those two things really appealed to me. And then, just he's a good-looking guy, but he's not inaccessible. I feel like he's kind of relatable, maybe more so than Tony Stark was for me,
Okay, interesting.
or Captain America, to be honest. I knew. Do you remember? Do you remember Lehigh growing up?
Yeah.
So I basically knew the real Captain America, and
Uh-huh.
so fictional Captain America didn't appeal to me too much. I loved Bucky. Bucky was great as the Winter Soldier. Big fan of him, but just it was weird to have an off-screen Captain America and an on-screen Captain America in my life.
Yeah, that's fair. And that was at the time that all those movies were coming out.
So, so those are some of my reasons for enjoying Thor. I also just like I like kind of the Viking-ish, the Norse mythology kind of. I don't know anything about it, but it's
Mm.
cool to me in a very much not white supremacy way.
Yeah, yeah, they have kind of co-opted Norseness, haven't they? But let's take it back.
So, what were your thoughts? What are you thinking about the latest and greatest?
Oh yeah, so I absolutely loved Thor 4. Thor Love and Thunder is the official name. Thor 4 More Thor is the Tumblr name. Um, Obviously, I can't take credit for that because that came from Tumblr. Uh, yeah, I don't know what to say about it. I don't want to spoil anything. I think the best way I can describe it is to describe an interview that I saw with Taika Waititi, the director. Um, he said that he was like researching some Norse mythology and saw that the actual Thor from actual Norse mythology flew around space in a sled that was pulled um, by two giant goats. And he said, "Why the hell haven't we done that in Marvel?" And so he did that in Marvel.
That's
Um,
excellent.
just the whole movie is very camp. It's very zany. It's even more of what you described enjoying about the previous movies. That it doesn't take itself too seriously. It just lets things be cool because they're cool and doesn't try to explain things. Um, and it also had a really compelling villain. I've loved a lot of the Marvel villains. I know that some people love the Marvel villains and some people hate them, but starting with Killmonger, I started to really pay attention to the villains, and I love how Marvel often makes them have really good points.
Yeah.
Um, and we see that again here. Christian Bale did an incredible job. Um, he plays the villain,
I didn't even know
and
he was in it. That's so cool.
yeah, yeah. I think that's all I can say about it without spoiling things. But it's just very great.
Well, I'm happy. I need to go see it. Maybe I'll convince my family to do it next week. But yeah,
Yeah, I recommend it.
I'm happy to hear that it's good. I think so. Marvel definitely uses a recipe, and it's not like a
Hmm.
new thing. You know, they've been doing it for a long time. So I understand why people get tired of it, but I think that Taika Waititi's particular brand of humor has been a breath of fresh air to me because it's
Yes.
it's not just little quips like I don't know. I have an affinity with that type of humor and it works really well for me, I guess. It really does it for me. I
Yeah.
don't I
Yeah, I agree.
obviously I can't gainsay other people's sensitive humors because different stuff works better for different people, but for me, Taika Waititi really does a good job.
Yeah. Megan in the chat wants to clarify or just expand that Thor is a himbo. That might have been a little while ago when you were describing Thor
Yeah,
as an
no,
airhead.
he is though. Yeah, you know, it's like good looking, generally a nice guy, like not not incredibly bright, but also not like desperate to be either.
Yeah.
But a little bit vain, you know,
Hmm.
a little bit selfish occasionally. Um, you know, just and those flaws kind of work to make him lovable.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, you mentioned Taika being a breath of fresh air for Marvel. I've definitely been experiencing Marvel fatigue, is what I've heard people call it. I think that's a great name. I've loved all of these Marvel movies, and they're getting a little repetitive. The characters are kind of they've been well explored, many of them.
Yeah.
Um, but I do love how Marvel has kind of addressed that by branching out into different genres.
Hmm.
WandaVision, I thought, was so innovative. Did you see WandaVision?
I saw WandaVision and I loved it. I actually felt like they did Wanda a bit dirty in the latest. Um, super
Doctor
blanking on his
Strange?
name. Doctor Strange. Thank you.
Yes, 100% agree. I'm upset about that, and I think we should talk about that. But WandaVision by itself, I thought they did a good job.
They did.
Doctor Strange being more of like a horror genre, I think was a cool concept. I think there were some issues with the execution. But yeah, I love seeing Marvel addressing the Marvel fatigue by going into weird places.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And you know, it's cool. It's also cool because they're introducing like a new pantheon of Avengers. You know, or maybe
Mm.
not necessarily Avengers, but like heroes that you can start to ask questions about and maybe build new movies around. I don't know.
Yeah, Ooh, looks like the Halloween party has started. Do you want to head over there?
Yeah, yeah, let's do it. I wasn't able to make more bombs today because of the party. It wouldn't let me go through town, but here we
Oh,
are.
makes sense.
Town. Is this electrically powered? Are we using coal to power it? How does that
I
work?
think it's coal, unfortunately. There's not an environment in this game.
That's right. I feel like I must kill these skeletons.
You cannot. They're safe in their cage. Okay,
Blast.
Megan in the chat says Himbo is kind of beefy and dumb, and that's what Thor is. She also says, yes, justice for Wanda. She deserved better. I was on her side the whole time. Yeah, Megan and I have talked about that a lot. Uh, should we just jump into this can of worms right now?
Yeah, let's open it up.
Okay. Well, I don't want to spoil Doctor Strange. Wanda was the villain of Doctor Strange, and they didn't convince me that she should have been a villain.
Yeah,
That
I mean, I definitely think that she took the ends justify the means a little too far. That's somebody who doesn't have any children, so I understand that my
uh yeah, okay. Maybe I should amend my statement. They showed her doing villainous things in that movie. They didn't show any sort of transformation, in my
yes,
opinion.
yes,
Um, so she deserved more of a transition before
strong
being evil.
agree with that. I think well even then like I don't see her really becoming the villain. Like she seemed genuinely heartbroken by what she had done in
Mm.
WandaVision. And yeah, I mean she had a break with reality, but I don't know. Just her character was so great, and I feel like she had a lot of potential just beyond, just oh I want to be a mom, which is great. I respect to moms everywhere, but for her character, I also felt like she had a lot to offer the Avengers that the Avengers weren't really getting anywhere else. Specifically, being a female superhero, but also with her powers and her background.
Yeah.
That's my hot take. Again, super respect wanting to be a mom, but also just felt like it kind of shortchanged making her a villain shortchanged what her character could have become. I felt like.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Okay, well, I got my golden pumpkin. Did you get one?
I did indeed.
Sweet. Then I think we can bounce unless you want to say hi to everyone and gain some friendship points.
I'm not in this for the friendship. I'm in this to make Big Tool suffer.
Okay. It's a lonely road, but someone has to walk it.
Oh, do
Oh,
we
we
need
can
to
check
buy
out the
anything
shop.
here? Do we want this rare crow?
I don't super care about rare crows
Okay.
yet. Um, yeah.
Say no more.
I think after we finish the community center, if we've still got momentum, it would be fun to see how close we can get to perfection. Um, and I think rare crows are required for that, but we can think about that later.
Okay. Um.
Hey, great news. I have figured out how to get back from my house with just a chair.
Oh, good. Okay.
I found a better way, and maybe our bombs last time helped.
Uh, maybe I don't know. I felt like I wasted a lot. This golden pumpkin, we're just selling it, right?
Yeah, it's one of the items in the game that everyone hates as a gift, and there's nothing else you can do with it. Concerned Ape really wanted you to know, please
Just
sell
sell it.
this.
Just
I
take the financial
promise you,
gains.
I couldn't put money in the chest, so I gave you the next best thing.
Do we need to save diamond for anything? I've got one here.
No, I think we can just go ahead and sell that.
Okay, and then fire quartz as well.
Yes.
All right. Dog, this is a human bed.
There's no such thing when a dog is around. I don't know anything about dogs.
If they can get away with it, I'm sure they will. But
I got level 4 combat.
Excellent. And we made 7,400 gold.
That's pretty
Probably
good.
mostly pumpkin gold, but
Yes,
still.
5,000 was pumpkin.
It's still sizable. I mean, I wish I could walk home with the 7,000 a day paycheck. That'd be nice.
Yeah, jeez.
Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee. It's me. Hunt me.
This is the last day of fall. Is there anything that we want to do with the fallness?
Did we get any yams?
We did get a yam. We had already donated one. We were missing corn, but we got
Oh,
one, and I donated it. So we are all done with the fall crops bundle. I probably should have made a bigger deal of that than I did when it happened, but yeah, finished fall crops.
excellent.
The reward for that was this beehive, which will give us honey every once in a while, but maybe not in winter. So that's a bummer.
That's okay. Oh, and what is her name again? She's building our little barn for us.
Robin,
Robin.
building a barn for us.
Robbing us blind. All right. I'm gonna go buy some more bomb. Oh, I found a hammer, a big old hammer called the Slammer. Does
What?
40 to 55 damage at -2 speed. Do you have any interest in it?
Dang, that's awesome. Well, if you spend more time in the mines than I do. Do you want it?
I tend to prefer fast weapons because my timing isn't very good.
Okay. I will try it. I'm gonna hold on to my Neptune's glaive
How do I
with
trade
the
with you?
anticipation. You can just like click on it and then click off of your inventory
To drop it.
to
Oh,
drop it.
that was
and
the
I'll pick
wrong
it up.
one.
I got the bone sword. Oh, hold on. Oh yeah, your bone sword is better than Neptune's glaive. I cannot give this back to you. What is going on?
It fell out for a second and then I guess you picked it up again by accident. Now I have it.
Okay, good.
Can I chop down these crops?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I can't. Well,
I
that's
guess you need
cool.
a tool for that.
Concerned ape being all considerate so we don't accidentally cut down our own crops with a sword.
You want me to go buy some copper for bombs?
Yes, that
While
would
you're
be
in the desert?
great.
Cool. Okay, I have been corrected. Megan in the chat says that everyone loves the golden pumpkin.
Oh,
Um, well, we sold them anyway.
cash rules everything around me. Cream get the money. Dollar bills, y'all. So, Megan, since you're our our lovely audience today, what's your favorite Studio Ghibli movie? Is it Kiki's Delivery Service, or do you have another favorite on the back burner?
I'll let you know if and when she replies. Yeah, I've been reading an interesting book lately that I thought you might like. Have you heard of Alan Watts?
I I think I have. That name sounds super familiar. Is he a philosopher of a
He
sort?
is a philosopher, yes. Um, okay, Megan says she loves Kiki's Delivery Service and Howl's Moving Castle, but Kiki's most of all.
Okay.
We talked about that earlier on the stream. I think Megan hadn't tuned in yet, but love Kiki's Delivery Service.
Same. So Alan Watts though. He
Yeah, Alan Watts. Go
he's
ahead.
like, is he a 70s guy?
He was even earlier than that. I think most of the books and essays that he published were in the
Oh
50s.
wow, okay.
Um, yeah, quite old. Let's see. I think I have bought altogether the wrong quantity of coal and copper, but let me see if I can get those closer to the right amounts. Okay. Yeah, so he was a philosopher. I think I could be totally wrong about this. I think early in his life he was a Christian pastor and then later in life converted to Buddhism. Oh my gosh, Buddhism, not Buddhism. Buddhism. Jeez,
Judaism, the
that was a
ultimate mashup religion.
um and just had really interesting outlooks on life because of that. And this was the 50s when like before the Beatles made Buddhism cool in the West. So he was a lot of his writing is like introducing concepts about Zen and Taoism to Westerners.
Yeah.
Um, so I've been reading a book that is just a collection of his essays, and he's got some interesting ideas. It, I will say that there's definitely parts that I'm not totally convinced by. Um, and it feels just a little bit off when he talks about how people shouldn't. Well, let me back up and say some of the good things. I think he's got just this really beautiful appreciation for life in the universe
Yeah.
that doesn't depend on like any specific religious belief.
Yeah.
Just like the idea of the human experience was exhilarating to him, and he taught about how beautiful it is, um, in a way that I really appreciate. Um, some of his interpretations of Zen and Taoism, I think, are maybe a little bit extreme. He kind of advocates for not trying to be different than you are, which I think is a powerful idea with its place, but I think is maybe not universally applicable. Um, like, if you want to try to be more in shape or eat healthier or like fight injustice in your community,
Or
I'm not
recognize
sure
your
what.
bias.
Yeah, yeah, great example. It I don't know what Alan Watts would have thought about those ideas, but based on what I've read so far, it seems like he would say, no, everything's fine. You just need to let go of desire. Um, and he talks about like this futility in the human experience that he seems to find very profound and beautiful, but I am a little bit worried by it. Um,
Can we dig into that for a second? Are you comfortable with that?
yeah.
So, is the futility like the inability? Does he think people are unable to change, and so fighting change is like a waste of your life? Is that the futility, or how does he talk about that?
Yeah, so his opinion and his I don't know how many like people that are experts in Taoism would agree with this, but this is how he's presenting Taoism. Um, his interpretation and his belief seems to me to be that suffering isn't actually caused by the problems in your life, it's caused by not being content with your life. And so, if you can just relax and go with the flow and let nature run its course, then you'll be more in harmony with the universe. And that all of humans' problems are caused by not being in harmony with the universe.
Interesting.
Um, and he seems to see this like he talks about pain and pleasure and all these other opposites being like in perfect balance with each other. So by seeking one, you're actually getting the other. Um, so like yeah, the ultimate stoicism, I think is how I would describe it. Stoicism to an extreme.
So that's I don't know. That's really interesting because playing the opposite game with
Hmm.
like the human experience could be really problematic because I don't know. I mean, in my mind, pain, seeking pain as a means to an end, like seems problematic, right? You're never really
Mm-hmm.
going to, in my opinion, I understand that not everything is what it seems, and some things that bring pleasure can bring a greater degree of pain into your life. But
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, like beating yourself with holly branches or something as a way to like improve your spiritual being seems like self-abuse almost to me.
Yeah, and I definitely don't think Alan Watts would have advocated for that. It's more of like a level of emotional detachment where you like don't care if you're happy or sad anymore, and so then all your problems go away. And if you do it with the goal of your problems to going away, then you've missed the point because then you want your problems to go away, and you're not supposed to want anything.
And
Um,
doesn't that seem to reduce the human experience to it eliminates so much depth of what we experience and what gives life meaning in my
mhm.
philosophy. That's so interesting.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think my biggest problems with it so far have been that I just want to like keep giving this um disclaimer. I haven't like studied him. This is my first exposure to him, so I might be misrepresenting some of his ideas, and I
Yeah.
apologize if I am. I hope someone can step in to correct me. Um, but it seems like his position is there's nothing that we can do that's going to make humanity permanent. And so, in the scope of the universe, nothing matters. And so, stop trying to want things.
Yeah.
Um, my two biggest problems with that is like, one, he's writing as an educated, probably wealthy white man in the 50s in the face of a lot of racial and gender injustice and so many other problems. Um, so it feels kind of disingenuous for him to say, no problem is really meaningful. You should just stop caring about your problems
Yeah.
when so many people in the world had it worse than he did. Um, my other issue is like, just because humanity is almost certainly, in my belief, going to be finite, like this whole human experiment is going to end at some point,
Yeah.
I still find a lot of beauty and meaning in making people's lives better now. Um, I think that human life and all life is valuable enough that anything we can do to ease suffering in the world is meaningful, even if it's not permanent.
Yeah. So I was
And it
go
doesn't
ahead.
seem like that fits into Alan Watts's framework.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I was having a discussion with one of my in-laws last week while I was out camping, and they kind of brought up the idea that like because people are suffering, um, you have to accept that either God isn't real or he's not good. And
Mm.
that kind of clashes with my personal philosophy a little bit, but my response to that was it's our responsibility to do the greatest good for the greatest number of people that we can, right? So the
Mm.
idea of easing suffering, and I would argue almost that beyond that thing, it's kind of irrelevant. Like, are you
Mm.
doing good for people or are you doing bad? And like whether or not um if you believe in God, whether or not God is good or not good, because suffering exists, doesn't matter if you can do something to change that. If you can do
Mm.
something to alleviate that suffering, like that's one of the greatest things that we can do for each other is to help each other. Um, and grow and strengthen each other. But I also wanted to jump back real quick to the idea of like humanity existing forever. That's such a weird goal. And I get that it's sad to think about you know, eventually there won't be people, but like, for who? We're we're gonna be dead. We won't be around to know that, to know what
Yeah.
that's like.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of callous because, you know, maybe for the last generation of humans, or the humans that live to see the decline of human civilization, you know, yeah, that's difficult. I would argue that for our generation and the generations younger than us, that's actually a big component of our challenges, of our mental health challenges, is confronting the idea that our civilization is failing. That's hard to do. It's depressing. You know, Bo Burnham
Or
wrote an entire album about it, and it's
yeah,
amazing. What were you gonna say?
declining at least. I don't know about failing outright yet.
Yeah, decline. That's a better word for
Failing
it.
in some important ways, but yeah. Um, yeah. Sorry, I don't have anything else to add on. Just wanted to.
Oh yeah, it's important to have that little, because declining is slightly more optimistic than outright failing. And I
Yeah.
tend to see the world in those kinds of extreme
Uh-huh.
ways, and that's, I think it can be quite problematic, right? Because it leads me to be more pessimistic than I should be about things. But getting back to the idea of humanity lasting forever, it's so interesting that we want that, right? Obviously, we want our kids to be happy, but we're never going to live forever. That was never. I mean, I don't know of anybody who's lived forever, at least not in like a provable way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even if you did, what
Sharks?
shark,
Sharks that live forever?
sharks and jellyfish? Ooh, is this Krobus? He's running.
It might be Krobus. I can't remember.
So I don't know. The goal of living forever is strange to me, because even if you do live forever, it doesn't change what you have to do with your life, right? Like, you still have to get up and do the best you can every day. And whether you live forever, or you live 10 years, or you live 80 years, that's the same. You know?
Yeah, I think any individual human living forever is very different from like humanity living forever.
I
I think
agree.
people can like come to terms with their own mortality, maybe not easier, but in a much different way than like humanity's mortality.
Yeah.
And I think it's really natural to like have that desire, just to play a little devil's advocate here, because I can't imagine ever coming to a point where humanity can say, yeah, this is a good last day. This pretty much wraps it up. Tomorrow, we don't need it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so, like,
Can I get that
if
copper
I
real quick?
get, oh, it's in the chest.
Oh,
Sorry,
it's in the chest.
the
Okay.
one on our porch.
I'll go grab it. Sorry.
Um, it's kind of like a mathematical proof. Like, if I know that on day n equals 1, I want to live, and I know that on day n equals n plus 1, I'm going to have the same desire to live as I did on day n, then, you know, like, no matter how big n gets, I'm still going to want one more day.
Yeah.
And so it's sad to think or imagine what that would look like, or sad to think about how we'll face it at some point. And so that's where maybe where Alan Watts has a point, because while I haven't been persuaded by it in my couple hours of reading his stories, it does seem like he has found beauty in that and meaning in that, or at least peace in that, and reckoned with it in a way that I haven't yet, and I think most people never do.
Interesting. Yeah. Maybe it's normal to want humans to go on forever. There's actually a great. Are you familiar with the YouTube channel Kurzgesagt? Kurzgesagt?
No, I'm not.
So they do like little animated bird videos
Uh-huh.
about all sorts of stuff, science stuff, philosophy stuff, lots of different topics, well researched by people, and they did one about the eventual isolation of like our supercluster of galaxies. If the universe is expanding indefinitely, and it's expanding faster than or at the speed of light, like not only will we never be able to observe, like to go in person and visit these places that are expanding away from us, we'll never be able to observe them. At some point there's like a horizon line beyond which there's stuff, but we can't see it, and it might as well not exist because it's moving away at so close to the speed of light, or at the speed of light relative to us, that we just it essentially doesn't exist. We'll never be able to get any information from it with our current understanding of the laws of physics. So
That's interesting.
yeah, and that when I watched that made me really sad, because like at that time I thought that the idea of being able to continually expand and see new things and enjoy new things was beautiful. I still think that it is a beautiful idea. But there's a limit to what we can do as people, right? How we coordinate. I'm a big Star Trek fan, Next Generation specifically. Mm-hmm. And seeing their federation is it's amazing to me to see what they've done in this fiction, right? It's very in a way it's very utopian, and I love that idea. I love the idea that we figure out these problems, and we're able to create a system where people are able to live pleasant lives, and nobody has to be exploited, nobody has to be killed in pointless wars for greedy people. Now that happens elsewhere in the galaxy, but in the Federation, that's really not what's going on. And I love that idea, right? I want people to be happy. But it seems like, at least in our current perspective, we're unable to do that. Like, we can't even unite our own nation, you know? There's things we agree on, but there's also a lot of things that we don't agree on. And the idea that we have to legislate our beliefs about what others can and can't do into law when it comes to things that aren't going to affect the safety of our society, that it's creating problems. And so I struggle to see us ever being, even if we could reach those super distant stars, how could we study them? How could we, even if it was physically possible, as human beings, will we ever be cohesive enough to achieve that? I don't know. And we want the whole world, right? We want the whole universe on a platter for us, but I guess to me, it feels silly to make that the goal until we're ready to work together, I don't know if that makes sense, but if humanity really, if we want to last forever, we start to living differently. We start to have to live differently. I don't know if that sentence made any sense.
a lot differently, yeah. Sorry to interrupt these deep thoughts. We've got some really good quests to choose from. If we can get 24 eggs to Gus in the next 14 days, then something good will happen.
Okay.
Okay if I accept that one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I've got 3 eggs on me right now, so that'll get us on our way.
What happens if I die in the mines? Does the day end for both of us?
No, it doesn't end for either of us. In single player, if you die in the mines, you like wake up on your farm or in Harvey's office on the same day. You don't lose very much time.
Okay.
Excuse me. Oh, this is interesting. Click, if you press F to open up your like quests journal and
Yeah.
go into the Gus's famous omelet, we've donated 4 eggs, but gathered 0 eggs because I heard you had 4 eggs on me when we accepted the quest.
They count separately. That is
Yeah.
interesting.
Okay, you wanted to talk a bit about music software, right?
Oh yeah, so as we've talked about on the stream before, I'm a big music guy. I'm not well known, but I really enjoy it.
Hmm.
And
Oh no. Jared is knocked
yeah,
unconscious.
that was bound to happen. Maru saved me. Yay.
No.
I was hunting for minerals and I almost stepped on your head. Finish the job. So yeah, I have always been interested in sound synthesis, which, if you're not familiar with what that means, any electronic music you listen to, those sounds are generated by little machines called synthesizers, and they just create repeating patterns of voltage, and then they use fancy time-based math, either built into the physical properties of electrical components or programmed to behave like those components, to play with the frequency content of those little patterns, and it generates sound that we hear. And
Sorry, can we slow down on that?
yeah,
So I think that idea is really cool that we can control time either through physics or with a computer, like deliberately slowing down and simulating time, which I think also uses physics under the hood.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, it does.
I,
It's just a different, so right, like computers do it using digital logic gates, whereas the actual analog side of things is all very much analog. But it's the
yeah,
same
that's wild to me.
process. Yeah, it's the same um, idea, right? One, you have all this math that tries to model its behavior, and the other just
As the behavior
has the
naturally.
behavior itself naturally. I have this interaction with Linus going on right now, and he's being super nice to me. I feel like,
Well, you deserve it.
hey, I want to show you something. Come inside. Oh no.
I hate that the scene has kind of sketchy vibes at the beginning because it's actually really sweet.
What just happened? Special kind of fish. Oh, good. Fish bait. Good stuff. Learned how to craft wild bait. Thank you, Linus. That was very kind of you. Oh, shoot. It's super late at night.
Yeah. If you pass out twice today, that's gonna be kind of funny. Did you see what items you lost from passing out or getting knocked
I did
unconscious?
not.
Okay.
Ooh, that's rough. All my cherry bombs. I had like 50.
Oh no. Okay, there might be a way to buy them back. Can't remember. It's been a while since I've been knocked out.
Level 6 combat. I now have a slime egg press and oil of garlic recipe. Cool.
Nice. You're leveling up like crazy today.
Yeah. So, what I was saying about sound synthesis basically is that the physical circuits that just inherently have the behavior aren't constrained to the same limitations that a simulation of the behavior has. And that
Hmm.
what that means is that the sound in the music is slightly different. And usually that manifests in the physical instruments sounding fuller and sharper, crisper than the software simulations. And so for a long time, I really wanted to buy those physical instruments, and I have spent probably a stupid amount of money on doing that when I was younger, and it's always yielded really good results. But yesterday, as I was making music, I was using kind of the latest generation of the simulation software to make the music, and I was getting some really amazing results that sounded very true to what the hardware would actually sound like, and it blew me away. It's amazing that we can do that now. That I'm able to write music and it sounds like it's coming out of the hardware of the actual circuits instead of a simulation of the circuit. And I'm really excited by that because the fact that we've reached that point in our simulation means that we're going to save people thousands and thousands of dollars if they know about it.
That's cool. Okay, two things real fast. Sorry.
Yes. Oh, you're good.
Megan says you can go to the Adventurers Guild and click on the desk when Marlon is in there, and you can use their item recovery service to buy items back.
Okay, I will do that right now.
Second thing, so you said physical and simulated devices. Physical devices, you're talking about like a synthesizer that most people are familiar with.
Yes.
Awesome music that uses it.
Yes.
And the simulation is this is a computer program that you're looking at a fake synthesizer and making music with it. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah, so they create a graphical user interface that looks like or similar to the actual instrument, and then some companies actually try to model the instrument, and some just use a generic sound engine to try to mimic the sound. And so the instruments that I use specifically are the latest Arturia synths, if any of you out there are interested in this. And they really blew me away with how close they're getting to the, you can still tell a difference if you were to sit them side by side, the actual instrument and the software, and play them back to back. But they're getting good enough that in a mix, in an entire song all mixed together, I don't think I'd be able to tell them apart, which is, it's pretty cool. It's I guess I'm kind of living the dream that younger me had, without having to spend $10,000 on equipment that weighs 200 pounds and breaks when you look at it sideways.
Yeah, that's amazing. Wow, I'm really happy for you that this is coming, that it's getting so good and accessible.
It's all coming together.
It's all coming together. Okay, I'm sorry I'm hung up on like the first thing that you said still. You mentioned that the physical device isn't constrained in the same way that the simulated device is.
Yeah.
And for a second I thought you had misspoken because I'm so used to in other areas of life the simulated version having so many fewer restrictions. Like just as a silly example, the Skyrim physics engine can allow a lot of things that the real life physics do not allow, like flying through the air when someone breathes magic at you. Like, usually we simulate reality and then we can throw away whatever real rules we want and simulate things however we want.
Yeah.
My understanding here is that like the physical processes are so complex that when we simulate them, we have to like take shortcuts and lose some data, and that's where like the different sound is coming from. Am I understanding that right?
Yeah, you've probably taken differential equations.
No,
Okay. So
just calculus.
so differential equations is like calculus where the answer to the equation depends on the starting point of the equation, and it's kind of a paradox in that it depends on itself and its derivatives. So it's pretty complicated. I would be lying if I said that I fully understood it. But that's how circuits work, is they have, depending on the starting point at any given moment in time, your output, n seconds later is going to be different. And there I don't, so this is my educational major. I don't want to get too much into the weeds because I know that it's frustrating, but basically the system is very complex and sometimes extremely difficult to predict, because it's hard to model all of the physical elements that you would need to consider in order to give an accurate simulation of the literal circuit. So, are you familiar with frequency domain analysis?
I am not.
So,
Also, sorry, Marlon is there now, so whenever you're at a stopping point, it would be a good time to go do the item recovery service.
okay, I will go down one more layer. I'm at level 94 right now,
Oh, nice.
and I'm almost dead. I'm gonna use a staircase.
Do you want me to come help? Or
It's
if
okay.
you got a staircase, you're good. Okay.
All right. So basically, instead of trying to model the circuit and try to model the noise and everything else, which some companies claim that they do, instead, you can run a signal into a hardware circuit that you know the properties of. You know the properties of the signal you input, and then you measure the properties of the output, and you can create a graph that says, at this frequency of input, this output is obtained. And when you combine all those snapshots for the range of frequencies that are useful to you, then you have a model of the behavior of the circuit without having to simulate it. But the problem is that, and this is the constraint, circuits operate at basically the speed of light, right? Not exactly the speed of light, but electrons are moving very quickly. So all right, I've got my cherry bombs back.
Oh, nice.
So when you actually look at what the circuit's doing from an audio output perspective, there's a lot of very high frequency content, and when you simulate it, that high frequency content is hard to replicate, but because it requires you to be operating at a much higher speed in the simulation than you might think is necessary. So there's a mathematical concept that kind of explains when information is lost. And for those of you who are familiar with this, I'm going to butcher it a little bit because it's been a few years since I looked at it. But basically the idea is that if you want to not lose any information, if you don't want to inaccurately represent the frequency content of a signal, any signal, then you have to provide that information at twice the frequency of whatever is actually going to be listening to it. So human hearing goes up to about 22 kilohertz. So in order to mostly cover that, you need to double that frequency for the simulation. So you need to be outputting stuff at 44 kilohertz, which isn't really that fast from an electronics standpoint. We have circuits, your computer processor moves way faster than that, but your computer processor has to do so many things besides just making the sound of the simulation that you lose out on high frequency content because it's computationally expensive to make it happen. So I'm not exactly sure how they're able to do it now, because you'd think that that's fairly fixed. But my guess is that maybe they're adding a little bit more weight to the high frequency range when they do the measurements and work on programming the simulations.
Okay.
So that it's overemphasized in their math, but in the actual output, it comes out as being fairly realistic. I'm not a computer programmer or a computer hardware specialist. My emphasis is power engineering, which is very, very far removed from those systems, at least so far in my degree. So I don't know how much that's going to make sense, but
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I also have been in lots of computer science classes though that touched on hardware. So, um, but yeah, that's really fascinating. And most of all, I'm just glad that you are able to get the sounds that you want out of your
that's
computer.
the bottom line. There's some good sounds happening, and I'm happy about it.
Love that. Well, this is peaceful, just fishing in the dark. Love this.
Try not to fall in. Did you ever watch the TV show River Monsters?
No, I've never heard of it.
Okay, so several years ago, I was in middle school and early high school. There was a TV show, I think it was on Animal Planet, called River Monsters, and I think the host's name is Jeremy Wade, but I could be wrong about that. But basically, the whole premise of the show is to go around to areas where fish killed people, and then try to catch the fish that killed people.
Oh wow. Okay.
And there's surprisingly a lot of fish that have killed people. Some of them were near mythical, and the dude actually went and caught them.
Oh my gosh.
And it has forever given me a fear of swimming, especially in the dark. It just freaks me out.
That's fair. So when you say near mythical, do you mean like these fish, people developed myths about them because they were so crazy, or like they were so crazy that they resembled a
Yeah.
kraken more than a trout?
Well, I mean both. So the one that I particularly remember is that it's called the goonch, and it's a catfish at some river in India. And it was like a legend. And people thought it was like folklore, and that the people that were getting eaten by it were just like drowning or falling into the river because they didn't find bodies. But and this is like 12 years ago memory, so my apologies if it's not very accurate. But basically what it was doing is it was going to sites where they would have funeral pyres and then throw the corpses into the river, and this catfish was eating the corpses.
Oh my gosh.
And with that food supply, it got very, very, very big. And I don't remember the overall length, but I want to say it was something like 8 feet and just ridiculously heavy. So much so that he was, dragging the fisherman down the bank and into the water when he was trying to catch it. And, oh, I'm about to pass out again.
Awesome.
Yay.
All our animals are really angry right now because we haven't been feeding them because I forgot to get wheat before winter, and Marnie was closed yesterday when I checked.
Oh
So
no.
we're rocking it right now.
Let's see. Jared, found your lost item. Be more careful next time. Thank you, Marlon. 52 cherry bombs for me.
Nice.
Dear Mr. Jared, last night a Joja team member found you incapacitated. A medical team was dispatched to bring you home safely. We're glad you're okay. You've been billed 1,000 gold for this service. Sincerely, Morris. Yeah, I guess I can afford that.
Yeah. Oh shoot, we also don't have a heater in our coop, so our animals are gonna be angry about being cold too. Ugh, this is not good.
Well, they at least they won't die, and you have to have a funeral for them in game, like Harvest Moon.
That's true. Okay, 8-foot catfish. What happened next?
Oh well, he's done all sorts of other ones, like some lake in Germany. It ended up being catfish most of the time. Actually, there's a lot
I've
of
heard
different
that,
kinds, and they're pretty willing to eat anything that it can fit in its mouth. So
and I've heard that they're one of those fish that will just grow and grow and grow. Like there's no limit other than the world around them on how big they get. Does that sound true?
that sounds true. Yeah. I mean, external, food. And I think there's actually a lot of fish that are that way. Like food and living space really sets the boundaries for what size they'll grow to.
Fish freak me out, man.
Yeah.
Jeez.
It wasn't always big fish though. In Brazil there was like this little fish, like these little, it wasn't piranhas, it was a different kind. And they like it's a little graphic, so I'm not going to go too much into detail, but they basically would like eat the inside of people if they fell into the water and were like drunk or otherwise unable to immediately get out.
Mm-hmm.
And that was pretty frightening too. So, I feel pretty happy on land where we've killed most of the things that want to eat us.
Uh-huh.
I like not being on the menu, to the disappointment of many orcs out there.
Okay, I need a name for a cow.
Um, are we still going with community theme?
We can pick a different media for the barn and do community for the coop.
All right. Um, we could do like Marvel heroes.
Okay, sure. Should we start with Thor?
Yeah, Thor the cow,
Thor the cow.
lightning milk.
Um, we don't really need two cows, do we?
Probably not. What else can go in there? Pigs?
Pigs and goats. I just spent almost half our money that we had on farm supplies. So I apologize for that.
Nothing wrong with that.
Better than having angry animals.
Did we finish the foraging?
I think we have one left on the winter
Oh,
foraging.
it's the frozen snow yam.
The frozen snow yam.
It's frozen isn't in the name. I looked at it and I thought it was going to say frozen tier, and I started speaking before I actually read it.
Okay, well now I feel like a fool. I just said a thing that doesn't exist.
I led you into foolhardy behavior, Berkeley, and I'm sorry.
Not the first time. Just kidding.
That's actually probably true.
I'm the one that got you to. Yeah, but I'm the one that got you to agree to playing Stardew Valley with no tools.
Is that foolhardy or is it beautiful?
Yes.
All of the above. So, is there a new season of Rick and Morty coming out? Season 5?
Oh, I'm not
Is that a
sure.
thing?
I don't pay attention to the release dates. I just get excited when they come out.
Okay. I also haven't been paying attention, but I thought I saw like an ad about a new Rick and Morty.
That's fun. I love Rick and Morty. This most recent season, um, wait, I need to check out. Let me look up which seasons are out because I'm gonna say the wrong thing.
I feel like I've only seen part of season 4. I feel like they released it in a couple parts and I only saw the first bit.
Hmm. I hate to break it to you. Season 5 came out last year.
Oh, woof.
Season 6 is. I don't see anything official about it. The end of season 5 had maybe the coolest multiverse concepts that I've ever seen, rivaled by Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I still
Um,
haven't seen that.
oh, I recommend it.
Poor
Um,
life timing has conspired to keep me away from the movie theater.
yeah, I understand. I've got a 2-year-old. That makes it hard.
Yeah, I believe it.
Um, anyway, we don't need to talk too much about Rick
Ooh, Berkeley, I'm
and
getting
Morty
jumped.
because it's also embarrassing. Oh no.
I barely escaped with my
Do
life.
you want me to come help?
Yes, I will need it. Also, I found a strange bun, and I'm definitely about to eat it.
Hey,
Mmm, strange
do I have
bun.
time to go to the blacksmith first?
Yes, I should probably go there too. I've got some geodes I've been holding on to.
Okay, he closes in 40 minutes, so it might be too late if you're in the mines.
I'm
Oh, you're
here.
here.
Parallel processing of geodes commence.
I just broke 4 geodes and all of them had either copper or coal, which would make me really mad in a normal game, but made me very happy today. Weird what no tools will do to you. Okay, so talking about the deadly fish reminded me of a show that I saw. So I went to the dentist recently, and at this new dentist office that I went to for the first time, while you are having your cleaning done, they have Netflix playing on the ceiling, which I think is fantastic, and I can't believe I had never thought of that before. Not that I run a dentist's office, so it's not like it was my job to think of that before, but anyway.
But it's a great service, and you'd think it would be more
It's a great
common.
service. I was too embarrassed to like say what I actually wanted to watch, which was Disenchantment because adult cartoons get a bad rap. Um, so the hygienist just put on a show called, I think it was called Deadliest Animals,
Oh yeah.
and it was just about these different deadly animals, and it was so funny to me because the top deadly animal that they said was, I think it was a mosquito, which is an interesting and sad fact that more people die of malaria than die of humans killing each other
Oh
a
yeah.
year. Um, so malaria is a big problem that we as a society should do more about. Um, Rattlesnakes, black widow, spiders, like all these animals that you would expect. And then armadillos was on the list. And at first I was like, do they attack people? Are they violent? No, there are 2 ways that armadillos kill humans. One is they actually carry leprosy. Many armadillos carry leprosy.
I did not know that. That's wild.
Luckily, that's not a huge problem today because it's fairly treatable with antibacterials, and most people are like naturally immune to it, I think, is what I gathered from this quick Netflix show.
Interesting.
Um, the other way that armadillos kill people is that in some places, I don't want to point fingers, um, people will see an armadillo in their yard and try to shoot it, and
Ah,
the bullet will ricochet and kill people. Like, this is a thing that happens not infrequently.
they're bulletproof.
They're bulletproof.
That's so
Probably
wild.
probably just from certain angles, but still. Um, it was just so funny to me to see them on this list of deadly animals when it's like definitely people's fault.
So people should be the deadliest animal. Well, at least above armadillos. They're because like technically the root cause was a person in that
Yeah,
situation.
that's true. Okay, I'm about to die. I think we need to bail on this level.
Oh, we're so close.
What do you think?
I've you're probably right. Is holly poisonous? I've got a bunch of that. Yeah, it is. Okay. What else do I have?
If it's poisonous, I've got 2 rocks that I can slingshot. I'm
Oh
gonna do that from
yeah.
a safe distance.
I forgot about my slingshot.
Oh, I missed. That didn't actually do very much damage.
Do you hear about the fog that tried to land a plane?
No.
He missed. That's
Uh,
poorly designed joke.
oh
Wait,
shoot.
is that one carrying a heart around?
Yeah, I think they're about to mate.
Uh,
I...
is that legal?
Okay, I'm seriously about to die, so...
Yeah, don't worry, don't worry.
Okay. I was not a lot of help here.
Go to the bar. When does the bar close? You could go get us some salads or something.
Oh, yeah. Or it's kind of late. I might just go get in bed.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm a bad companion.
Oh, that's okay. I mean, what are we fighting for anyways, right? We're just trying to get lower in the mine. I need staircases is what I need.
Mm. Oh, well, we've got 13 jade, so next Sunday in game, we should go fix them up.
So apparently you can't eat crocuses.
Hmm.
Ooh, I found some iridium. That's nice. And I found a new artifact for the artifact place, the museum.
What is it?
It's star shards.
Ooh, that sounds lovely.
I'm gonna drink this triple shot espresso and then I'm gonna go to bed.
Power move. Hey, well, this has been by far the longest stream we've ever done. Do you want to call it there, or do you want to do one more day?
Up to you. I'm happy to do one more.
Okay, let's do one more.
All right. Do I get a full bar of health? Ooh, it's snowing.
I think if you don't have a bar showing, that means you have a full bar of health.
Okay.
Wow, we have so many animals. They ate so much hay. Maybe we've made a poor decision.
Is it gonna bankrupt us? That'd be hilarious.
That would be... Maybe we should sell some chickens? Oh, but we need those eggs for that Gus challenge. Maybe after the Gus challenge, we should sell some chickens.
Do the eggs make enough to pay for the feed?
Oh, you're right. They do. We haven't been getting eggs for a few days because they've been mad, but we did get eggs today. So I think we should be back in the
Good graces.
black. Is that the opposite of being in the red?
Yes.
Back above water, back in the profit zone.
Back in the money area.
So I mentioned before the stream that right now at my job we're doing a hackathon, and I was hoping to talk just a little about the concept of a hackathon because I
Yeah.
think it's something that you will enjoy. So this is traditionally a thing that programmers do, which is probably why it's called that. But I've seen it adapted by other groups as well, um, non-programming folks. So the idea is that so in my day-to-day job, I write code. Someone tells me new features that they want on the website that I work on, and I implement those features. For the hackathon, you do as much as you can, as fast as you can, it, even if that means being sloppy and cutting corners and doing things that won't scale well or age well. Just try to get something cool working in like 3 or 4 days or however long your hackathon is. BYU, where I went to school, had one that was like 12 hours, I think. Anyway, so I think this is a cool concept that fits really well with a lot of programmers of like take your regular job and do it fast and reckless,
Yeah.
um, just to like make something cool in a short span of time. I can imagine like most types of artists having fun doing this. It's kind of the same concept as NaNoWriMo, the National Novel Writing Month, where you write a novel really fast and really bad in 30 days.
That sounds like a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. And like at the surface level, it's just doing your job, but more. Um, but like getting into this really focused zone where you can just create without thinking too hard about all the constraints that you normally have, I think is just super fun and super rewarding. Um, and it ties into something I've been thinking a lot about lately of just how much fun it is to create things and how lucky I am and a lot of people are that we get to do that as our jobs. Um, and I think most jobs, if you look at it from a certain angle, are creating things, and lots of hobbies are. We're streaming because you and I like creating entertainment.
Yeah.
That's why we've made a podcast and why we now stream.
Yeah.
Um, so I just want to talk about the love of creation, creating things. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I, I've always wondered what drives us to create. You know, like
Mhm.
we enjoy it, but why do we enjoy it? Like what is it about making new things? Because some people don't. You know, there are some people who
Mhm.
really don't actually. You know, they're more about consuming, which is cool too. You know, obviously everything that's created has value because it's created, but it also has value because it's consumed.
Mhm.
Um, but you know, I wonder why for us creating is fun, and for some people, you know, even you know, consuming is fun. Like what, I've never tried to make an animated TV show. That's never been something I would try, but I see people make them all the time, and I love them. And
Yeah.
it's fascinating. Like I love what I can't do.
Yeah. I know for me, there's a big element of like, I see something that I like, and there's a part of my brain that always goes, I wonder if I could do that. And there's no way to find out if you can do it other than trying to do it.
To do it. Yeah.
Um, so that's definitely part of my personal motivation. It's also like, it's really engaging, the same way that playing a video game is engaging because it is like using parts of your brain that enjoy being used. I don't know, almost like a workout feels good. Um, just creating things feels good.
Yeah.
I think there's also a big social aspect of it. Like when you're creating something, there's this implication that you're sharing part of yourself or something that's important to you with the people around you, and that feels really validating. It can definitely contribute to fostering relationships
You know, that's a
in a
great
way that's
point.
really cool.
Creation is a great way to express yourself out into the world. And it can help you learn about yourself. It can help you learn about your experience. It can help you process things. For me, for a long time, and still sometimes, that's kind of what drove my music was like, I needed to process stuff and I needed to get what I was feeling out because I didn't have any other way to deal with it. And that, you know, now, you know, with electronics, it's a different story, right? Like, I find joy in being able to make things that work and that are useful. And so that's kind of two very different purposes for creation, but they both bring happiness into my life.
Yeah, yeah, I was thinking along the same lines. Like, I enjoy writing and I enjoy doing this stream and I enjoy the podcast because I'm sharing parts of myself. But when I code, I don't really feel like I'm sharing part of myself. But there's still this pride of like being able to imagine something and create it. I think the process is fun. Um, it instills confidence in me knowing that I can imagine something and then like see it actually brought about. I
Yeah.
don't know. I think there's more motivation there that I'm not understanding about myself. Um, but I feel like there's just a lot that's really cool about making things.
Yeah, and it seems like, you know, like, when did people start using tools? Because they, you know, that was maybe the first act of like creation or invention. You know, they thought, oh, I have a need and I can fill that need if I create this thing that hasn't existed so far, or at least not in this form. I wonder if that's kind of where that began for us. Was it gave us such a big boost in terms of our ability to survive and function that our brains just became predisposed towards creation of all sorts.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I feel like there's creativity that must have happened before that, like coming
How
up
could you
with new ideas.
conceptualize that you need to make something new? Yeah.
Yeah, like even animals that started hunting in a pack instead of hunting individually. Like, I I don't know anything about biology, so I shouldn't talk about biology. But I took a class on computational creativity that helped me understand creativity much more broadly and deeply than I had thought about it in the past.
Yeah.
Um, but it seems impossible to me that there hadn't been creativity before humans evolved. Um, but creation, as distinct from creativity, I think that tools seems like a good starting place. Um, although tools are like a fundamental evil, so I don't want to like attribute any special place in history to them. Really, the true creation was laying down our tools
That's
and
right.
completing the community center with our bare hands.
Transcending tools.
Hmm.
So there's a song by a guy named Jonathan Colton called Code Monkey.
Hmm.
And one of the lines is, "This job fulfilling in creative way, such a load of crap." But you find it creatively fulfilling to program.
I do, yeah. So for those who don't know my background, I spent my whole undergrad of college planning on being a software engineer, and then like a computer programmer. Then I went and got a master's degree thinking that I would eventually go into academia studying AI. And then I missed software engineering, so I decided not to continue on to a PhD, and I went back to the same place where I'd been an intern, and that's where I am now, um, doing computer programming. And I used to think disparagingly of that idea of being a code monkey. Um, I thought that I would get bored of it fast, and there have definitely been like assignments that I've had at work that have felt a little bit tedious. But in general, with my current job, I still find coding very rewarding. Um, sometimes it, my job title is software engineer, and I think engineer is a really good way to describe it, like somewhere between math and art, um, where I do have to be creative, and that's fulfilling for me.
Yeah.
Um, it helps that I'm at a job where um, like my manager and my team really respect me and give me a lot of autonomy. Um, I think that like the conditions under which you're working could contribute to a feeling of being a quote unquote code monkey. Which for people that aren't familiar, that's just a term to describe people that program without really thinking about it or having a lot of fulfillment from it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm glad that you found that balance. I think any workplace can struggle with that balance, you know? As a manufacturing laborer for many years, that's eventually why I left, was the work balance wasn't good enough. I didn't have the freedom that I needed to be able to fix the problems that I saw, and it became so frustrating to me that I just decided, you know, I'm going to go to school and do something new. And that ended up being really great for me, but you know, any job can feel that way, I think, given the right given the right conditions. I almost died. This little shaman guy is really hurting me, hurting my feelings.
I'm just fishing in the snow.
I have a farm warp totem now. Do we want it? I'll probably need to use it, actually.
Yeah, using it right now seems like a good idea.
Okay, let me finish getting.
Are you
this
asking because your
treasure.
inventory is full?
Yes.
Oh, well, yeah, using it right now doesn't really help with your inventory being full.
That's so true. That's hilarious. I didn't even realize that.
I wonder if you can like stand close enough to an item on the ground that you can like use the farm totem and then pick up the
Gather
item
it on the way out.
before you go. I'm not sure how those mechanics work.
So what we really need is hardwood, right? That's what we're struggling to acquire.
We do have a path to hardwood. Um, we have some seeds
Oh,
for a
yes.
mahogany tree,
Yep.
which I believe we can blow up with bombs and get hardwood from. If we try that and it doesn't end up working, we can just keep blowing up baskets and barrels in the mines, and eventually we should get some. Oh, good solution there.
Made it, barely made it to bed. Level 4 mining. I can now transmute iron, and I can make
Ooh.
glowstone rings.
Nice.
Very cool. All right. Well, it's that time of day yet again.
Yes, it is.
It's been a pleasure. It's been a privilege taking on Big Tool with all of you. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching if you're watching this after the fact. If you are one of those people that didn't tune in at the beginning, you can watch all of this episode and many of our other episodes in their full glory on YouTube. If you go to the About section of our Twitch page and click on our Linktree link, it'll take you where you need to go.
Yeah, that link tree will also take you to our Instagram where we post recaps of the episodes and announcements about when we're going to stream. And if you're ever interested in contacting us, that is a great way to do it.
I've been Jared. He's been Berkeley. And we are...
And we'll continue to be those things.
We will. Hopefully we will continue to be those things. And we'll destroy Big Tool once and for all. Together.
Yes.
All right.
All right. Thank you everyone for joining. Bye.
Bye.